Well, here's a funny little thing for you. The Philips 0185 mini cassette. Now, the mini cassette was the very first type of miniature cassette that came out, so far as I know, and dates back, I believe, to 1963. So it wouldn't have looked out of place in Mission Impossible and all that sort of thing. Well, that's the good news. And also it's AC bias, so that's good news as well. The only trouble with these mini cassettes is that, unlike the later micro cassette and indeed the standard cassette and even 8-tracks, they don't use a capstan drive. All it is a rim drive machine. That is to say that the motor just turns against the edge of the turntable reel with the tape and pulls it through. And some of the little reel-to-reels, including that one on Mission Impossible by all accounts, worked in the same way. I remember messing about with one as a kid, which was truly ghastly, really, when you think back. It took 3 C cells, or HP11s as they were then, to run the mechanical part, and the motors in it weren't even audio quality motors. They were just the same sort of thing that you get in a kiddie's toy car at the time. And then the electronic part, which was DC bias, ran on a 9-volt PP3 transistor battery. And the speed was terrible. A friend of mine had one the same, and you couldn't play each other's recordings on each other's sets because it simply wouldn't have it. Happily, the speed on this one, at least, appears to be somewhat better. But of course, because the take-up spool is turning, well, I say take-up spool, driving spool if you like, is turning at the same speed throughout. As the spool grows in size, the tape speed will increase, won't it? It just stands to reason because the spool is turning at the same speed. Oh dear. Well, this is simplicity itself. On top, you can see there the little volume control, and the button on top there is the record and record off switch. And then on the side here, if you wish to record, press the button in, push this up and it locks. Little red light comes on, and the electric condenser microphone, the same as used in their standard cassette, starts recording. To stop, you just move it back to where it is now, and then to rewind, pull it that way. There is no fast forward. That was a feature, if I remember rightly, of that funny little rim drive reel-to-reel too. And a quick look at the tape reveals, nope, there are no holes for a capstan. Nothing there at all. You could see the head down in there, little green thing. Looks more like a Philips Erase head did on a standard machine. We slip that back in there. My doctor used to have one of these. He had it for years and years and years until he retired. He might still have it for all I know. Used to use it for taking memos about patients, to remind the dragon on reception to do various things, such as go to hell. That might have been a nice idea. Meow, yes, put those claws away, move around the saucer. Anyway, so we'll see whether or not this actually can make a decent recording. I zoom out. It's very disconcerting being able to do all this sort of thing after all those years, you know. Press the button in on top, slide that up, the red light is now on. This is the Philips mini cassette machine, format introduced during 1963. It's a rim drive machine, so it's not suitable for music really. Any music you recorded on here would tend to sound like Donald Duck after a while, but it does seem at any rate that it works. Now this really and truly needs a new belt. The belts hadn't gone to goo in it, and neither had the real turntables. You often found with their cassettes that you didn't get gooey turntable reels either, but the belts made up for it. There we are, I've got a rewind. Put it on here would tend to sound like Donald Duck after a while, but it does seem at any rate that it works. And there you are. it does work. It doesn't erase very well, I have to say that, although the head is clean. And I can't see any sign of any separate erase head, so presumably it's got one of those things like my BT Robin Answer phone that serves both as an erase and a playback head in one. Yeah. And what on earth did they make the Robin DC bias for? They must have done to sound that bad. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yes, BT. Bloody terrible. Well, I've had a nice surprise today. A box of spares has turned up from Real Fan Obsession. So thank you very much for that. Mostly parts for older Philips reel-to-reel machines. But I did notice with my beady eye that there's a motor control switch group and control module for the earlier cassette recorders. So that's going to come in handy. So anyway, I hope you like this unusual thing, and see you soon.